Crown Crunchers, there is nothing more interesting to get annoyed about than hypocrisy, and Harry and his wife are becoming the Duke and Duchess of hypocrisy, and everyone's talking about it. After calling the royal family selfish, strict, medieval, dangerous, and above everything else racist, they have now done a 180 turnaround and are begging King Charles to give titles to their children Lilibet and Archie. Now, if Charles was feeling petty, he could refuse this request. The decision lies at his discretion. However, in classic royal fashion, he has once again taken the high road and bowed to their brazen demand. If you think back to the Oprah interview, you will most likely remember Meghan claiming that Lilibet and Archie were denied titles by the Queen, alluding to the fact that it was all down to racism. But it has now become apparent that as great-grandchildren to the throne, it is not standard procedure to assign prince and princess titles. It is more commonly given to the grandchildren of the king or queen, which is why now we discover that either Meghan had not done her research and was unaware of standard royal protocol, or she intentionally misled the Oprah viewers to believe that her family was being treated differently, that her family were victims to the royal family. The fact that they are being given royal titles has a couple of consequences for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It firstly makes you realize that everything they had said about the family, about how difficult life is within the institution, well, it's a bunch of rubbish. Unless you are willing to believe that they want to watch their children suffer as they allege they suffered. To put it simply, you wouldn't send your children to work in a cobalt mine in the Congo as a slave, because we all know that that's a terrible environment. You would not even give them the choice to sign up for it. But their reason for asking for the titles is that so the children may have the choice to be part of the royal family in the future if they so choose. It just can't be that bad then. Secondly, it really does make the king look good. He could have taken this as an opportunity to stoop to their level, but he hasn't. He accepted their proposition, giving the titles Prince and Princess to Lilibet and Archie, and at the same time extended an invite to both of them to the coronation. It is a brilliantly honourable move to show that, one, everything they have said about him and the institution will not make him act irrationally, and two, that the royal family values their traditions, and moreover, that he still cares about his grandchildren, irrespective of how much of a knucklehead Harry is being. It is worth noting that the king has not issued the use of HRH titles, which means that although they are prince and princess, they are not his or her Royal Highness, which means that they will not receive many perks issued to the working royal family, including one big one, security. That's right, if the children come to Britain, they will need to be paying for their own security. It will not be supplied by the royal family. That, I believe, is fair due to the current position that Harry and Meghan hold. That's what I think, but let's get to your juicy take on the matter. Kimberly says, I would be livid in the streets if I was from Sussex. Everyone is frustrated with all of the horrible things they're doing, the interviews, etc. If you're from Sussex, you would just be ashamed. They've made it difficult to live in Sussex without being annoyed. Candice says, and Harry don't care about hypocrisy as long as the money is rolling in. Well, that seems to be almost everyone's opinion these days. They literally will do anything for the money. That's all they want. Raywin says, how can a foreign huck do what she does and get away with it? What has she got on Charles? Is there proof she gave birth? Now, this is a conspiracy theory that many of you have been going into. Is there genuinely the children? Has the christening genuinely happened? We want proof. At first, I thought you were all crazy, but actually it does seem like there's some truth to the matter. It's because we have not seen the birth certificates. And normally you will be privy to seeing the birth certificates when it's someone who is in succession to the throne. As a people, you want to see the genuine evidence of that. And they have not been released to the public. And so that is the reason why there are these conspiracy theories about whether these children are actually her children or whether they are his children. We actually do need evidence of that before you can start giving them prince and princess titles. You do make a brilliant point. And there has also been allegations that she has something on Charles. Of course, it is very, very, very rare that you get someone who is so outspoken about the royal family with zero backlash. And this was, of course, one of the theories about what happened to Princess Diana, that she was too controversial for the royal family and that the royal family actually had a part to play in her unfortunate passing. Now, there was no solid evidence to support that theory, but we can see here that we've got someone who is really, really speaking out against the royal family in a very public way, much more than Princess Diana, ever did. So how is she getting away with it? They are supposed to be this powerful institution, and she's saying whatever she likes. So is Harry. So what do they have against the family? I actually do think you are onto something, and we may get a shock in the future. Miss Grace says, funny how Prince and Princess are just first names without the HRH, and that is really the point. Charles has withheld the HRH title, and so they are just somewhat, I mean, you could change your birth certificate to say Prince or Princess, but without the HRH, there is very little value. So we'll see if he gives in to giving them the HRH titles. Now, this really does make me laugh. We'll finish with this one. Susan has said, Megs will have to curtsy to her kids, which is not true, but it's just hilarious because we know how much it annoys Meghan to have to curtsy to anyone. It has now been announced that she will have to curtsy to Sophie, which is so funny because previously, up until recently, Sophie had to curtsy to Meghan, which she would have done graciously and had no problem with it. But now the tables have turned. According to a source, Sophie is very overjoyed about not having to curtsy to Meghan. And so there's something that gives me so much schadenfreude, you know, when you take pleasure from, unfortunately, other people's pain. We just know how much it annoys Meghan to have to curtsy. Why would you want to become a member of the royal family if you really had such a big issue with curtsying? And not only that, her problem was not just curtsying, but she was shocked by the fact she had to curtsy to the Queen of England, the Queen of the Commonwealth. So thank you very much for that one, Susan. And that's all. Please do subscribe if you like what we are doing. It's the only way we know that we are on the right track to making you guys happy. And if you like, please leave a comment in the section below. I do love reading your juicy comments. So the more juicier, the better. And let me know your opinion on whether Meghan and Harry are hypocrites. Goodbye.